feeling like the other woman in my own engagement. My partner Lance, 30M, and I, 27F, have been together for 3 years, and we got engaged 6 months ago. Before he met me, Lance had a 5-year relationship with a woman named Elaine, 31F, with whom he shares a son. Lance is generally a reserved person, and I've always known that Elaine was his first love. He had hoped to build a life with her, but she never wanted to commit to marriage or planning a future together. It was only after their son was born that Elaine decided to end their relationship. Despite the breakup, they have established a fantastic co-parenting dynamic. Their son adores both of them, and they treat each other with respect and kindness. However, I have this nagging feeling that something isn't quite right. Lance has expressed his deep love for me and his desire to build a life together. However, he doesn't want to have any more children, and he wants me to have limited involvement as a parent to his son. While I understand and respect his wishes, it hurts me because I have always envisioned having a family of my own. Sometimes, I can't help but feel that Lance settled for me because he couldn't have the life he wanted with Elaine. I worry that I'll never be loved as intensely as she was. But then, the morning comes, and everything seems perfect and lovely, leaving me feeling conflicted. I have noticed the way Lance looks at Elaine when they meet due to their son, and I've also seen the way he looks at me, with love and affection, albeit different. He assures me that he loves me and that there is no one else in the world for him, not even Elaine. He's aware of my insecurities and jealousy, and he has greatly reduced his contact with her to only necessary and respectful communication. Our wedding is scheduled for next year, and the time leading up to it has helped me understand my feelings more clearly. From the beginning, I've felt like I was meant to fill the void Elaine left, and I've had enough. I want a complete, happy life with children, shared adoration, and a partner who looks at me with love. In the next few days, I plan to have an honest conversation with Lance. I am no longer willing to compromise, nor do I want to feel like an outsider in my own marriage. I feel a sense of determination, even bravery, as I have finally realized what I truly want. If Lance remains firm in certain aspects of our relationship that I can't accept, then I know it's time for me to move on. Update: feeling like the other woman in my own engagement. First of all, I want to express my gratitude to everyone who took the time to read my post. Writing those words gave me the courage to confront the reality of my home, my relationship, and my own emotions. I now understand that I had settled for love, and while compromise is not inherently bad in a relationship, I was the one constantly making sacrifices while he set the rules. Initially, I found his assertiveness admirable, but over time, I realized that it was not a healthy dynamic. As mentioned in my previous post, 2 days after sharing my thoughts with all of you, I sat him down and called off the engagement. There are no second chances, no attempts to fix what was said. Some things cannot be fixed. When I spoke to him, he was confused and hurt, but he allowed me the opportunity to express myself fully. I poured my heart out, explaining how broken I felt living a half-life, a half-hearted relationship. Despite loving him deeply, I was not willing to settle for a half-marriage. I shared my desire to have children and how his dismissal of that dream without considering my feelings had crushed me. In borrowing the words of others, it often felt like only Elaine was seen as worthy of being the mother of his children. I also spoke about the pain I endured being sidelined when it came to his son. While Elaine did not hold me back from having a role in raising their child, Lance made it clear that he already had a mother and did not need me in that role. Although I loved his son, I always felt like I had to tread carefully, fearing disapproval from Lance if I was too friendly or motherly. Furthermore, I addressed the fact that deep down, we both knew he was not truly over Elaine or what he went through during their breakup. There were many things I discussed during that conversation that I am not ready to disclose here. I managed to hold back tears, only allowing myself to shed a few. He attempted to comfort me, but I refused his gestures. He also shared his thoughts, swearing that he no longer held any feelings for Elaine but expressing his fear of being left again since the last time he had a child, he was abandoned. I suppose I would have preferred him still being in love with Elaine rather than not trusting me. However, we must accept things as they are. I made it clear that if my feelings were not evident enough for him to have faith in my commitment, then nothing I said or did would change that. He pleaded for another chance, suggested couples therapy, proposed putting the wedding on hold while working through our issues, but I declined. The conversation had left me emotionally drained. I was fortunate enough to be able to take a few sick days to process it all, mourning the end of our relationship and the love I had for him. I am not naturally outspoken or extroverted. I grew up in a home where emotions were rarely discussed. My father was stoic and reserved, while my mother was bitter and sorrowful. For a long time, I believed that love was beyond my reach because I didn't know how to express myself. I had previous relationships that failed because I was as emotionally distant as my parents, and some friendships couldn't withstand my inability to communicate fully, despite my love for others. I recognized that if I wanted a fulfilling relationship and to be truly loved, I needed to change. I underwent a transformation at my core to love Lance, and it hurt that despite these efforts, he still questioned my commitment. It prompted self-doubt, momentarily pulling me back into the darkness I experienced in my teenage years. However, I take ownership of any faults I may have and use them to become a better person. I no longer allow Lance's perceptions of me or his doubts to define who I am. I do not anticipate any further updates, and this will be my final post on the matter. Thank you all for your support and understanding.